Hey y'all, my name is Six. Welcome back to my channel, and I have a story time for y'all that I've been meaning to share. But you know what? It's okay because I think this is the perfect time to share. So,
my mama wish I would've went corporate, she wish I would've went exec. I still turn to a CEO, so the lifestyle she respect. Hey, 2 sprinters to Quebec.
we're gonna be talking about 2022 because it was the year that made me, but also helped me find my purpose. I wanted to share it while I was going through it, but y'all, I just couldn't because it was such a tough year. Like, it was from, I would say, yeah, from January up until December. Like, 2022 came from my neck. It really did. And so let's just start from the beginning. And it kind of starts in 2021. I moved back with my parents, and that was really difficult. It was difficult because it felt like I was taking 15 million steps back. But now that I'm 2 years removed from that, it was really like a slingshot. So I'm grateful. Trust God because He knows better than you know, right? And so in 2021 is when I started like taking my content creation seriously and like just really trying to bet on myself because like I didn't have any other direction, and content is what I started to lean on. So I made the decision that in 2022 I was going to take it serious and treat it as my day job, and that's exactly what I did. And so from January, I would say from January to March, like I really locked in and did what I needed to, and it made room for me. At the time, I was working, doing content, but I was also doing project management. And so I remember being on the couch at my parents' house, and God told me, "You're not gonna work a regular job ever again, so stop trying." Because prior to that, I was trying to find a job. I was trying to like have one foot in the stable world, one foot out, like trying to do both. And He was like, "Nah, I need you to fully trust me. So bet on yourself," which is, I was already in the season of betting myself, but I was timid. I was afraid. So He was like, "Yeah, no more jobs. You're only allowed to freelance moving forward." And I was like, okay, cool. So I think in about March is when all my credit cards started like, I was starting to hit the limits. The liquid cash that I had, the money, everything started slowing down. And so it made Him telling me not to look for a job even harder. But I did what I needed to, and I trusted the process. And I think in the beginning of March, I ended up getting a email for this like cohort thing with Pinterest. I ended up getting that ended up being like $1,000 a month, which hallelujah, I needed it. But that wasn't gonna hit until like, it was like a net 30 or something like that. So it wasn't immediate, but it was a sign that like you're headed in the right direction, right? And so at the time, I'm still living with my parents. I'm trying to figure it out. I knew that I wanted to move. I just kept telling myself like, I'm moving soon. I don't know where, I don't know how, but I'm gonna do it. Like, that was not my final form. I knew it. And so through that, I was learning so much. I was just like trying to figure things out, but I was also just like learning a lot about myself, learning a lot about God, and like how He does things. I was building my relationship with Him. I was able to hear His voice bigger, louder, and more clear than I ever had. I was fasting more. I was just really like in relationship with Him, and that's what truly carried me through, because this was a very difficult season for me. March was a tumultuous time. So around March, I had gotten into it with my mom, and it was kind of a downhill from there. Like, me and her had gotten into it, and then I had to assert my boundaries and basically speak up for myself, where before I wouldn't have done that. I would speak up for myself, but it wasn't in the same way that I was doing at that moment. And so from there, the energy in the house was just not that great. And I was just like, okay, God, I know I'm not supposed to look for a job, but like, I need to get up out of here. So one thing leads to another. I'm doing content. I end up flying to LA and spending some time with one of my friends. and this job opportunity came to me, and I was like, well, technically I didn't look for the job, so maybe this might be it. She was saying that the girl needed help with her social and that I could help her, and she's like, but she wants it to be in-house. And I was like, well, I'm down to move anywhere. And so we looked up her LLC and then found out that she was in Houston, and I was like, okay, well, Houston is probably where I need to go. So I ended up not getting that job. I interviewed for it. I was more than qualified for it, but I ended up not getting it. And I knew that that was God telling me, like, you're not supposed to work for anyone else. I'm gonna make this happen for you, but it's gonna be through a way that you don't see. And so I was looking for places. I found this amazing 2-bedroom apartment that I wanted in Midtown in Houston, and like I was just like, okay, this is gonna be beautiful. I was believing for it. I didn't end up getting it. And so I ended up just like kind of like letting go of my search and being done with it. And shortly after that, another family blow up happened, and my dad kicked me and my sister out, and we had to figure out what the fuck we were gonna do. And so at the time I was being tested because God had been telling me that I needed to be the bigger person within my family situation. So I went and talked to my dad and was just like, 24 hours is not enough time for us to figure things out. We don't have any money. We don't know where we're going, all of that. And he was like, I was mad at the moment, but I'll give you guys more time. I was like, literally, I should be out of here within the next 2 weeks. This was in June. He was like, I should be out. I was like, I should be out of there within the next 2 weeks. And I kid you guys not, in the next 2 weeks, I was gone. I was my stuff was packed. I was hightailing it to Houston. And God he literally works like that. So I found a place. I drove down to Houston to go check it out. It's where I met my lovely roommate, Renee. And it's crazy because I was talking to her the other day, and she was just like, you are my 2022 girl. Because we was really in the thick of it together. Like, once I got to Houston, I thought that my worries and everything was just going to change. It did not. Fucking plot twist. So I move, and even me moving, like getting the money to move, my money was delayed. I had to lean on someone, and that ended up putting a strain on our friendship and our relationship. I'm no longer friends with that person, but shout out to her for lending me the money. And it was just literally like faith on top of faith on top of faith. So I moved to Houston, moved to this beautiful high rise in Midtown, Montrose, Houston. And I'm like, okay, bet, like everything's gonna just like come together. No. One thing about it, if God is gonna make you work for everything, he won't make you work physically, he'll make you work energetically. So I'm like, okay, cool. At the time, because my dad had kicked me and my sister out, we had like got emergency benefits. So I was literally on food stamps and a prayer. Okay, food stamps and a prayer. I literally had just enough for rent. I think my rent at the time was like $1,300. And yeah, I had food stamps, and that was carrying me. I had like I think it was like 2 something in food stamps, and I was making it stretch. Shout out to Texas because things were cheaper there. So like I was able to make shit stretch, like, and it also helped me lose weight. Like, it was a time, y'all. It was a real time, like really getting out the mud. It reminded me a lot of back when I lived in LA, and I lived in downtown LA, and I was just thugging it, trying to figure out how to make ends meet, how to boss my life up, you know. It felt like that all over again. And so throughout the whole summer, I'm like trying to be positive, creating content, trying to figure things out, meeting people, pushing myself out of my comfort zone, like really just acclimating to the city. And I was just like, I really don't fuck with this time. And then you know, also like looking for jobs, but not looking for jobs. I was just looking for some way to get some money. And so an opportunity came across one of my friends. She sent me this opportunity in like July, and I applied for it, had the interview, and then in October I ended up getting the job. And it wasn't necessarily a job, it was just a freelance gig to be a part of this collective. So that ended up working out beautifully. But at the time they were like, we don't have any projects for you just now, but once we do, we'll let you know. And I'm like, okay, cool. While all this is happening, while I'm waiting for life to kind of settle down, y'all, why does my car get repoed, bro? And this is the funny part, y'all. I am at this guy's house. And this is so crazy because the whole summer God had been teaching me basically like how to soften my life up and like how to be more leisurely. I was really leaning into my feminine and trusting him like I never did before. And so this situation is really ironic now that I'm thinking about it. I went to his house, spent the night, and I parked my car on the street. Y'all, the next morning, he takes me, he like drives me to my car. Y'all, my car is gone. My car is gone. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And I didn't know what happened, but then I realized, I was like, hold on. So then I'm freaking out. I call the number like on the thing, and then they tell me that it was repoed. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I start crying. The guy's like, oh my God, like it's okay. Like we'll figure it out, blah, blah, blah. He was like, I'm gonna Uber you home because I have to go to work. And I was like, okay, no problem. He Ubers me home. Y'all, I was so down bad. Like I couldn't believe I didn't have my car anymore. Like, and that car, like it was a 2014 Toyota Corolla. That car carried me throughout my whole journey from 2020, from moving from LA, driving cross country. Like that car held me the fuck down. And so I was just like, what? Literally that took me from like struggling to depressed because I didn't know what I was gonna do. So I end up like trying to find, I literally had I think like $4,000 left on the car. So it was just like so little money that I didn't have to be able to like let the car just be mine outright. I was so pissed. And so I was trying to figure out the money, trying to figure out the situation, trying to borrow money. People weren't letting me. Like it just was really tough. Like the whole situation was so tough. And so that even like brought strain like with other family members, because it was just like I just felt like I was being kicked while I was down. And so I'm like literally depressed, like having low-key suicidal thoughts, just like, God, like why did you bring me out of a bad place to put me back in a bad place? Like it just didn't make any sense. And like I didn't know when money was coming. There was one of my clients owed me money. Like it was just a whole lot of mess, right? And so I end up like starting to work. I started work in October, and but I only got paid once a month, and I got paid, it was kind of like a net 30 type of situation. Like you have to work a month and then you get paid for the month afterwards. It was interesting. Ended up working out in my favor, but at the time I was just like, I need the money immediately. And so yeah, I end up just like, okay, I'm not gonna let this get me down. I'm gonna figure things out. Like I don't, obviously if I don't have my car, then I don't need my car, like we'll be fine. But then I end up finding a way to get my car back, because I was like, there has to be a way to get my car back, like because I knew about like constitutional law, like all types of shit. And so what happened? I end up like finding out that like you can get your car back through bankruptcy. At the time, I was like, I don't know, that sounds a little scary, because I know shit like that stays on your credit for 7 years. But I was like, I need to get my car back. So I called my sister and she's like, that might be your best bet. And I was like, you're right. So why I filed for bankruptcy to get my car back. And I end up like the timing of it ended up not being the best, being able to get my car. I ended up getting my car back, right? But it already went to auction, and so they already fucked with my car. So I went to the auction, got my car. Mind you, when I'm picking it up, you know the story's about to get good when they say mind you. So mind you, when I'm picking it up, my battery's dead. And I'm just like, what is going on? Like, why is my battery dead? They give me a jump. I leave. I go to the store to go get some groceries. I get home. Y'all, that was the last time I drove my car. That was the last time I drove my car. The car wouldn't start after that. And I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm literally pissed. They threw away my plates. Like, it was just a whole shit show with this car. So I was just like, okay, I don't want to do bankruptcy anymore. So I end up going through a series of different things. I got a mechanic. And he was just like, your car is working properly. There's like a kill switch or something that like they did to the car, because there's no reason that your car shouldn't start. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So long story short, not even long story short, because I just told you the story, but the auction fucked my car up. So it was a waste of me even doing the bankruptcy. And yeah, so I ended up like that ended up fucking me over because that happened the end of October, like in October, and then I got paid in November, and so I was like, okay, well, I'm making enough money so I can go apply for an apartment. Because at the time, I think I skipped over that. So at the time, I was in the apartment that I moved into, but our lease was up at the end of November. So we're thinking like, okay, this is gonna be good. It was a mess, a hot fucking mess. So we ended up trying to apply for our same unit, and we got denied because of freaking bankruptcy on my thing. And we were just like, what the fuck are we gonna do? And we were praying down. When I tell you, I thought I was like, she thought I was doing good and she was trying to hold it together. We both were trying to hold it together. I'm telling you, we was in the thick of it. So I was just like, God, I refuse to be homeless. Like, that is not my ministry. That's not it. And like, whatever you do, I don't want it to be no piss poor quality. Like, you know how I am. Like, I'm not about to play with you. He didn't play with me. I remember talking to my friend, shout out to Imani. And Imani was like, bitch, y'all, you can sleep on my couch. Like, we'll figure it out. You're not sleeping in your car. Cause I was thinking at the time I had already gotten my car back and it was parked on the street. And she's like, you're not sleeping in your car. And I was just like, okay, you're right. And so my roommate ends up like borrowing money from somebody. And when I tell you, this is why I love Houston so much, because the level of community and care, because they could have like, they didn't know me that well, so like it could have been just like, girl, fuck you, but like it was really just like on some collective economics type shit. We were putting our shit together. Like, I legit used the money that I could when I could. She used money when she could. She ended up borrowing money from somebody, used it for the both of us. We were going apartment hunting, looking, and people were just not receptive. This was around the holidays too, so I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Whole month of December, we try to figure something out. She decides like, oh, I'm just gonna book us a Sonder so that we're not crowded in Amani's place. She books a Sonder for 2 weeks. We end up like splitting our time there, and then I end up booking a Sonder for the last 2 weeks of the month. And things just kind of like, I was just figuring it out. And like on the outside looking in, it looked like I was just booking spaces to shoot content, because I was like, while I'm in this, I'm gonna shoot content. I'm gonna make these outfits hit. I'm gonna make this shit work. And I did, and I'm so proud of myself for doing that, because the content is what, me getting dressed every day, me getting cute is what kept me going through the bullshit, because it was just like, what in the actual fuck? Like, nobody aside from the people that were really in my circle knew what was going on. But y'all, I was almost homeless. Like, it was really crazy. But shout out to God, because I told him that literally I'm not cut for homelessness. I'm not. I'm a Taurus moon. So is Renee. So we're both Taurus moons. That was not like it. And we both have the same taste. So it was just like, he knew what to do, and he came and he provided. And even when it felt like I was gonna fall flat on my ass, he did not let me fall flat on my ass, and I'm just so grateful. But I do want to talk about like the lessons that I learned through it, because obviously God never puts you through anything for no reason. And so while I was going through it, I kept on thinking about other people. So like when I was getting denied left and right, I'm like, shit like this happens to people all the time. There are people who don't think that they're as capable as I think I am, or have accomplished as much as I've accomplished. So I was thinking about like single moms. I was thinking about people who like have literally no family, because I had family that was able to help me a little bit, but the single mom thing kept on popping into my head, because like obviously I have a dog, but I was like, she was stressing me out. But if I actually had a kid and another mouth to feed, like I could give babe away if I needed to. And I thought about that at that time, but what the fuck, she carried me too. I kept thinking about single moms, and I kept thinking on like, because not only were we getting denied and delayed, I was experiencing people not having compassion. It was like I was a number. It was just like people were not looking at our situation as humans, and it made me think about how the world is set up. And so it birthed this whole passion and fire within me to help be the change that I wanted to see. And I had already wanted to like invest in real estate and stuff like that, but God was showing me my purpose through that difficult season. I had called this one property management company and like was asking them why I was like being denied, because my my application it was like a conditional acceptance, so it was up to the discretion of the management. And so I called the building, talked to the manager, tried to like understand what was going on and see like why she wouldn't just like help me. And she was just like, sorry, but like you just don't make enough, and like you have this bankruptcy, like you don't have enough for me to see. And I was just like, I get that, but like I had a supervisor, I had people vouching for me, and you could see the paper trail, so it just didn't make any sense. And she's like, I don't know what I can do. And it was up to her to be able to let me live there. And obviously it worked out how it needed to, but what struck a chord the most with me was I had this conversation with her days before Christmas, and it was like, that was a make or break moment for me. I remember I cried on the phone, and I was just like, okay, like, and then I got off the phone and I started crying, and I was just like, what the fuck? And then God just was telling me, like, do you see how you feel in this moment? Like, there are people that feel this way over and over and over again. Like, this is a moment for you, but this is some people's lives. Like, this is how they go through life. And I was just like, damn. And he was like, yeah, so the way that you're feeling, I want you to remember this. He was like, I'm working on your heart posture right now. And I was just like, oh my God, like, okay, that makes sense. That's one of my goals. I want to be a landlady, real estate investor. I want to be able to help people. And he was like, I had to put you through this time so that you see what happens. You did everything right. You listened to me, you were obedient, you did all these things, and life still hit you. So when it's your turn to be in that position, remember how you felt so that you can be the change that you wanted to see. And so it was such a difficult time, but getting through it, because sometimes when you're going through it, the only way to get through is to go through. And I had to go through to learn those lessons. And now that time will always stick with me, not because of what I felt, but more so because now I have a heart for single moms. I have a heart for people who have tried, but like life is just knocking them down. And so now the processes that I'm going to put into place when it comes to finding tenants for my buildings down the line, there has to be a human component there. There needs to be an interview. There needs to be something. I need to meet these people so that I know and can feel something. You know when somebody gonna fuck you over, you know. I learned that through this really like intense time, and then also just like trusting God. And like literally through that moment I learned to focus on the day, because there were days where like I didn't have anything, but that day I didn't need anything. I had all that I needed. And also learning that, like, not that God doesn't put you through anything that you can't bear, but he always provides. When it feels like he's not providing, you're thinking too far ahead. And so I was just learning all these different lessons and things, and even down to my car. Like, I was like, okay, well, I guess I don't need my car, because if I needed it, then I would still have it. God doesn't take anything away that he doesn't plan to replenish or re-bless you with. And so getting through 2022 and the mindset that I developed, the heart posture that I developed, helped me in 2023, where I made the most money that I've ever made. I gave more money than I've ever given, and I experienced more life than I've ever experienced. And there were doubts and things in my brain through 2023, but there was a peace on me because I knew what I had been through, and I knew that year was redemption for everything that I had been through. The whole year of 2023 was amazing. Like, if I think 2022 me would have never thought I'd be living in Miami right now. Never. That wasn't even a thought. Like, I wasn't thinking that way. I wasn't thinking, it. And it's just crazy how God can flip. We're in March of 2024, and like March of 2022, just 2 years ago, I was at my parents' house, and now I'm back on my own. I have a dog. I live in a beautiful apartment. Looking out this window, I can see downtown Miami. Like, the river is right across the street. Like, I'm just in such a blessed season that it's easy for me to tell you guys this story, because if you're in that place of life is looking low, things are looking like they're not gonna change, I promise you, God is he's gonna find a way. He already has a way to flip it in your favor. Because when I tell you, in 2022, I was like, oh, I'm about to take myself out, because there's no way I can come back from this. But look at me. I'm here, okay? That's my 2022 story. The year that made me, the year that developed my heart posture, the year that God used to bring me into the woman that I am today, the year that God really like broke me down like clay to remold me, and the year that I'm so grateful for, and I think I'm gonna continue to look back on and remember when I'm in the thick of things, like I got through that so I can get through anything else. Thank y'all so much for watching. I hope that you were able to take something from this, and stay tuned for more because we're gonna have more story times, y'all. God has been putting me through it, okay? And I know he's been putting me through it so that I can share it. So there will definitely be more on the way. So yeah, I love y'all, and I hope you have a beautiful day, beautiful week, beautiful month. And I will catch y'all next time. Bye.